un ratillo. Y bueno, una de las bandas que a mí me impresionó de este tipo de sonidos es Amenra. Yo cuando estaba en el Psycho todo el mundo decía, Amenra, Amenra, esto. Y yo de, pues vamos a ver qué onda, ¿no? A ver si es cierto. Así yo ya no podía ni caminar el último día del festival y me paré así de, pues vamos a ver qué tal Amenra. Y de repente empiezan y es así algo masivo que te transforma. Ir a un show de Amenra es como ir a un ritual, a una misa, a las famosas más. Entonces fue una de esas bandas que me impactó musicalmente, visualmente, porque tienen su colectivo el Church of Ra, obviamente, y también lo que hace Colin en vivo, se me hace una de las cosas más locas. Todos los rituales que tienen, de repente se cuelga, se le cuelgan piedras, esto de que se voltea de espaldas, tiene como la garra, como de, bueno, no es que es garra, o cómo se le puede decir al, sí, ¿verdad? Del cuervo, y hace todo este tipo de cosas, es increíble, pero bueno, es una de las bandas que me marcó. Cuéntame a ti si, qué opinas de Amenra, qué te pareció y si también tuvo el mismo impacto para ti.
Sí, pues igual, qué coincidencia que justo los, o bueno, los empecé a escuchar más porque también los vi en un Desert Fest.
Es que ahí está toda la
Sí, sí, sí.
chuleta.
Y de hecho fue el último Desert Fest que tuve chance de ir antes de retachar para México. Y sí, es una experiencia, es un muro de sonido, es un muro de emociones también
Sí,
ahí
sí, sí.
que te hacen no nada más es el riff, no nada más es la pausa melancólica, también es todo lo que está involucrado. Ver todo en blanco. Güey, yo recuerdo
Sí.
el concierto, lo recuerdo en blanco y negro.
Sí.
Así,
Es que neta,
hasta ese punto llegan,
es
¿no?
que eso está muy loco porque cuando ves Amenra ya vinieron a México 2010, no 2020
Ujú.
y obviamente en los shows ponen como una especie de tela, ellos tocan atrás de la tela y proyectan diferentes películas en blanco y negro y eso da la sensación de que ellos están en blanco y negro, como si estuvieras viendo una película, ¿sabes? Entonces sí tiene bastante sentido que lo recordemos así.
Sí, sí, yo la verdad lo recuerdo así y sí, también, pues justo depende en qué mood veas a Amen Ra, va a ser como lo percibas,
Sí,
¿no? En
porque
ese,
Amenra puede tener un sonido pesado, de repente puede ser uno de esos rituales, pero tienen otros shows acústicos. Hay varios instrumentos barrocos que Corin ha tratado de, pues, de traer de vuelta, que le gustan bastante, y tocan sets tranquilos, acústicos, y hacen un ritual literal, eso hacen
ujú.
bastante locochón, pero de repente tienen estos shows así salvajotes que sientes que se te va a salir el corazón ahí.
Sí, sí, sí. O te duele verlo,
O
¿no?
te duele, claro,
Así
el
de
dolor,
de
sí.
que lo ves y dices,
Te
wow.
duele, sí, sí, sí. Pues vamos a escuchar a Merga para que lo topen. Ya lo habíamos puesto también, pero pues bueno, esperemos en algún momento Colin se pueda conectar. Esperemos que la tecnología nos juegue bien el día de hoy. Pero bueno, pues mientras vamos a escuchar algo de Amenra, ya regresamos a este Bands Channel 666. Disfrútelo.
I see distance in your eyes, bury me to sleep tonight. You touch the vine, I saw distance in your eyes. Came to claim what was his. For years I lived a solitary
Casi lloro cuando los vi.
vamos a bajar un poco porque al parecer ya está por ahí Colin, está llegando. Vamos a ver si ahorita nos podemos conectar, si nuestro staff nos ayuda. Hello, Colin, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. It means a lot. We are a big fans. We have a special here about post metal in general. This is the first year of this show. So thank you so much for your time. Really, it means a lot for us. And we have some special
problem.
questions for you today.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm going to try. My English is not the best, so I'm going to try to read this question. So just be patient. Okay.
We'll make it work.
So first question: you did several live ceremonies with reference to the Second World War. There was a ritual with fire, the circle. Does that have any relation in the composition of the new album?
Yeah, we did. We actually wrote the songs for the album. Actually, we wrote the songs for those rituals, for those fire rituals, and then we recorded those songs. Yeah. So we
Wow.
really wrote it for things. Yeah.
Do you have a next question, Gerardo, for Colin?
Yeah, hello, Colin. It is a pleasure to be here
Hey.
too. So let's carry on with the interview. It is very difficult to be able to interpret or understand the album because it is written in your native language. There are very poetic parts that a translator cannot really make sense of. Could you tell us a bit about this content?
Yeah. Well, actually, the translations of my lyrics are in the album, so I knew it was important for people who do not speak my native language to understand what it is about. So it's like like I said, we wrote the album for those special fire rituals that we did
Yeah.
here in our home country, and we had constructed a situation where people could join the fire ritual and put all their unacknowledged losses, so the things that caused grief in their lives and that was making their lives harder to live, to put them in the fire so we could burn them together. So in a way, some of the songs are me addressing all the people who are there and talking them through the night actually, and through those hardships in life, and it feels like um, a voice from above is talking to everyone actually, and trying to pull them through whatever situations that they need to get out of, and things like that. It's hard to explain. It's in Amenra, the music is more something that you have to feel
Yes.
instead of having it explained. It's hard to really literally explain what it is about. It's a
Yeah.
feeling of togetherness, of support, of empathy.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
more the idea of the
I think that's very
yeah.
special, not just for this album, talking about Amenra in general, because I know the first time I almost cried when I saw you. It was my first time I traveled to the US to see you, and was an amazing experience for us. Then you came to Mexico 2 3 years
Thank
ago, but I totally understand when you feel the music and change something in your life. It's like I mean, for me, a concert of Hammond Right is like a ritual. You know, you transform in that ritual, and you're a new person. That's my perception of your music in general and of your
you.
shows.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It should be a sort of cleansing experience or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I also want to add that I totally agree with you. It's a music that you have to feel, and it's very interesting what Roman says, because when I saw you, also it was I prefer watching you live than listening to the records because I feel more.
Yep.
I feel more. It's as
Mhm.
Roman said, it's like a ceremony sort of thing, and a lot of music in this in this genre is um, instrumental. So it's
Hmm.
sort of like the same thing. It's more to feel it rather than
Yeah, yeah,
it has a very single meaning. I think it fits perfectly for everyone to grab it and then give the meaning and feel it rather than having a very
yeah.
special or specific meaning.
People, what is important for the people is what the music means to them, not necessarily what I wrote about. You
Yeah,
know, that's
exactly.
why we try to keep it abstract. But
Yeah,
and I think it's a beautiful thing that it's there is no nationality or specific. Um, it's universal. That's what I mean. It belongs to humanity. That feeling, it's something that we all feel, no matter what continent we come from. It's something that we all feelings that we all recognize. And that's really nice nice to be able to work with that.
Yeah, definitely. And well, next question for you. Over the years, you have been in various parallel projects to Amenra, such as Kingdom, Sembler Dead, Harlow, of course, your solo project. Are there any future plans with any of those past projects?
Um, Not really. No, we only make like new projects. We keep on making more and more instead of continuing older ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it makes it interesting. I believe that stories need to be told in a certain period, and then
yeah,
a certain band tells that story, and then it is told, and then you kind of move on.
yeah,
In our case, mostly we move on back to our main bands, like Amenra, or and then suddenly there's a new story that needs to be told in between, or and a new band is formed, and it's like a continuous flow of creation, I think. Yeah.
yeah.
and continuing talking about the musical career now, we know that you're part of a new project, which is Absent in
Hmm.
Body, and a band
Yes.
that was created originally by Matthew and Scott Kelly. And
Yeah.
could you tell us a little bit about your input as a bassist and vocalist and the incorporation of Igor
Igor Cavalera, sí, sí, sí.
in the
Hmm.
drums?
Yeah. Um, um, so the songs, Matthew started writing the songs in 2017. I remember when we were on tour with Amenra, he was working on his laptop a lot, and he told me that he found inspiration in the different landscapes that passed by, night landscapes, snow, or other or forests, or whatever we were passing through at that moment. And then Scott was the first one to add his guitar play when he ended a solo tour, I think, and then he passed by our studio, and then Igor spent a lot of time in our city here in Ghent, because he plays in drums in a band here, that is from here. So we ran into each other as well. It's a very small city that we live in, so it's not hard to not miss each other. And then the plans were made that, hey, we should do something together. And then we were working on Absent Body. So that's how we all got together in the studio here in Belgium. And yeah, it's getting released next month. So we're really happy that we're able to do that as well. That is a new project, yeah, a new story that needed to be told. Yeah.
We can wait to hear the full album. Also, do you have any plans for a tour with this project?
It'll depend on the personal agendas.
Yeah,
We have enough to do with our other bands. So we mainly wanted to make an album that was uh, signature for contemporary times. We wanted to create a beast, and then we'll see from there on. Yeah.
yeah. Well, we are very excited about this new project. It's a surprise for us. I think you released like Matthew and Scott released a previous album. No, it's very limited, like a
Yeah.
100 record, something like that. I read that.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know, 2017 or
Yeah,
16, I think it was released. Yeah, and and they had written, it's a 20-minute piece or something, and I did some vocals on there too. But there were like 500 copies on vinyl, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now talking about Amenra, why did you decide to pause or finish with the Mass album series?
Well, like after we had written the music for these different gatherings and rituals here, um, we wanted to put them on an album, because they fit together and they were written for one purpose. And then we asked ourselves the question, like, is this mass 7? And then we were like, yeah, no, it's not, it's something different. It was conceived in another mindset. It was built in a different way, and it felt different. So that's why we gave it another name. But that doesn't mean that there might not be a follow up mass at some point, But it all depends on how it was written and why it was written, pretty much.
Yeah.
And talking about the mass, this is a personal question that I was looking forward to actually to ask, and this is because I consider myself a very big fan of when artists or bands use certain or specific sorts of like nature to put in their albums or in their covers. And I've always wondered why a dead swan. What does that symbolize? And also the three claws of the crow, if it is a
Yeah.
crow, of course.
It was a crow, yeah. Like for the Mass Six album, a photographer, a friend of ours, Stefan van Vleteren, made a series of all uh, typical animals of our country and our area or territory here, um, and that they were all animals that were found, and most of them were donated by an organization here. And the swans this materialized the music that was on that album pretty much. We always go looking for an image um, that tells the same story or has the same element as the music or as the album. So the swan it is a very gracious animal, but at the same time it's very protective and ferocious. Ferocious. It attacks you as well when when it feels threatened, and that's what I liked about the comparison between the swan, and it was a dead swan obviously, and the gracious still image of that strong animal that still holds its beauty after death, and that's what we kind of do with our music as well. We try to see the the we always say we try to move from darkness into light. We try to see the 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 light in a situation that might be pitch black. We try to look for ways to for means of survival pretty much in a human life. So that was a bit the idea of the cover album, of the cover image of Mass 5. And as for the three claw symbol, we call it the tripod. Um, that symbolizes the idea of that life and the time frame of a lifetime is a very short period. So you have to be aware of that, those claws that symbolize death pretty much, and the end can sweep the feet under your body at any minute, any second it can be done. So you have to try to live a life where you do not have to have regrets, and where you have to try to live that life as in an as good as possible manner, and try to be kind and kind-hearted to the people that you encounter, and try to help each other as much as you can. And That's a bit the idea of the tripod symbol that we use.
Wow, very deep.
Mhm.
That's amazing. I wish have that question. So thank you so much for for that information. And well, next question. I know that's a deep answer, but well, back to the new album of Amenra Dome has two different studio mixes. What is the biggest difference between the two?
um, so the first mix, our bass player Tim took the forefront on that one, and we all uh, followed the idea of what an Amen Ra album should sound like, and that is um, bass driven, low and heavy. You have to almost feel the impact of the basses, and um, it was, yeah, tightly knit how we saw an Amen Ra album. But at the same time, we wondered how someone else that was outside our circle would interpret those songs, and
Yeah.
how he would um, would 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 finish them, or would make them sound, or how they felt it. So that's why me and Leonard went to the States, to set Manchester, to do the other mix. Um, which is very unconventional for a band to do that, but it's really interesting to us. It's really interesting to know, um, to do that exercise with your music. So the other mix is more, instead of focusing on the heavy lows, it was somewhat more in the mid section. So the
Yeah.
guitars might have some more detail, and that is especially something that our guitar player Leonard monitored. That's not my very area of expertise. But and we also put, there is another singer on the record, Caro Tange,
Yes.
a friend of ours, which in the first mix we put um, at the same height as me, and maybe a little less present. And on the second mix, we pushed Caro to the front, and we, for some songs, we pushed me to the back. Um, and that was also following the idea of that. There is a lot of tendency to say that, my presence on as a singer, as a vocalist, it puts a very distinct identity stamp
Uh-huh.
on music, to change that in a way, to shift and make a Caro to the forefront. So the idea is, if I ever should disappear in some way or another, there's always someone ready to that could follow and keep the torch going, the flame going.
Yeah.
So there's a bit more Caro, and there's a bit more experimentation, and Seth had a little more balls to distort some things more, and yeah, to make it a different aspect. It's a little more um, aggressive, I think,
Yeah.
instead of heavy.
Thank you so much for tell us about the difference. It's really nice that you create these two mixes because sometimes the band just release one and it's like at the final cut and that's it. And as a musician, sometimes you
Mm.
want to change something, but it's too late. Sometimes it happens with the Dark Side of
Yeah,
the Moon for from Pink Floyd, for example. And now
yeah,
the mix of David Gilmour, now it's out many years before, but after yeah,
Mhm.
after, sorry. Bad English, bad English. But it's really
yeah. No
nice
problem.
that you relate both mixes at the same time because the fans can understand the two visions of this album, the two vision from you, and that's really interesting. And now this is more like a personal question too. I'm a big fan of lucha libre or wrestling. I was shocked when I
Yeah.
saw that Tommy End, Malachi Black, used an Amenra song for his entrance. Can you tell us how is your
Yeah.
relationship with him and if you like wrestling or lucha libre?
Yeah, so funny. Yeah, I have to say the last years or decade or whatever, I'm not really, I wasn't really up to date anymore, you know. But I used to always look when I was younger, that but I was then still WWF wrestling.
Yeah, yeah,
So I really was a big fan of that when I was younger, and I had all these wrestling dolls and
yeah,
shit that I played with them when I was a kid.
Mm.
Uh, so there's yeah, I kind of love it. The heart that was installed there when I was younger. And Thomas is from the Netherlands. And obviously it's pretty spectacular for us that he was able to become so big in that sport or out there. So I definitely had an eye on it, and with his background in metal music,
yeah.
um, we had some uh, um, we had some similar friends. We had some mutual friends and stuff, so we were aware of each other, and then we reached out and started talking, you know, how just asking how he was doing and blah blah. And then yeah, I think for him it was interesting to have music that was in his native language. You know, it made it also for him like way more personal than it ever had been. So that's how we kind of connected, and we started talking about uh like the song Ogentroost is a plant that is used to cure eye diseases, and
Yes,
it also literally means like eyes of comfort. So it really fit his character well because he also
yes,
had like
yes.
an eye, a defunct eye. So it clicked together, and it kind of matched perfectly, and it was cool for us to be a part of it, you know.
Yeah, cool for me too. I'm a big fan. I remember I was watching, AW, and suddenly he appears and it's, wait a minute, that's a song from Amenra. Oh yeah, and the character of Tommy and Malachi Black is dark. He's a badass guy, so
Yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah,
I feel finally I feel happy with the entrance song from a luchador or wrestler. So yeah, I have that.
yeah. It's nice to see like different worlds come together at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
And now we have the last question in our question list. And in 2020, you visited our country, which is Mexico, and South America for the first time. And how was that experience for you? And if you have any plans to come back in the near future, or not?
Yeah, we'd love to come back as soon as we possibly can, you know, as soon as but we still have to do like all the other continents touring now because the last yeah, it was not that long ago, you know. We didn't do anything else after that. So yeah, we'd love it was really amazing. I really loved we really loved the time we spent in Mexico City and in Monterrey. It was
Yes.
really great to see yeah, to see your country, and it's for us, you know, as a group of friends, it's really amazing to have the opportunity to do that. And everyone was so nice to us, you know, the tour manager and the guys who organized the festivals, and it was really, yeah, we really felt welcomed, and it was really an amazing experience, and that accounted for the other South American countries as well, you know. So as we'll get back out there as quickly as we can. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we can wait
Awesome.
to see you again. And Colin, thank you so much for your time. This is the first anniversary of the show here in Bands. So
Yeah,
hopefully soon you can come here and play here in House of Bands. This is a place for you guys.
yeah,
Thank you.
that would be great. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate
Ah,
it.
thank you, thank you. We are a big, big fans. We want to thank you for your music, for your passion. You changed a lot in us. You touch us with your music, with your passion, also with
Thanks, man.
everything in general. So thank you so much. We really
We
appreciate it.
can say that the
Thank you.
purpose of your music is having an effect
Yeah,
on us
yeah.
clearly.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
Thank you very much,
for
and
everything, you guys.
take care.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Take care, Colin.
Yep.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Yep. See you. Bye bye.
Ese fue Colin. Gracias por el inglés. La neta, estaba nervioso. No, no
No
voy a
manches.
mentirles. Es así alguien que admiro demasiado. Amenra es una de esas bandas que sí te transforma literal. Verlos en vivo es un ritual, como lo decíamos. ¿Qué podemos rescatar de aquí, Gerardo? ¿Qué podrías decirle a la gente que tal vez no habla inglés en general? ¿Qué
Pues
nos contó Colin?
un chorro de cosas. Yo creo que lo que más me queda es eso que le dijimos al final, de que pues justo una de las razones o de los propósitos por las cuales él hace música tiene un efecto en nosotros, y eso es
Real.
que, por ejemplo, a mucha gente le intriga saber qué dicen sus letras porque está en su lenguaje nativo, y pues justamente él nos dice como no se preocupen tanto por eso, preocúpense por sentirlo.
Sentimiento.
Les puedo decir a manera general que se trata de dolor en general, y de que pues justo esa fogata que hicieron fue justamente para echar todo ese dolor de mucha gente, porque pues no todos
Sí.
tenemos las mismas piedras encima de nosotros. Entonces, algo de lo que me encantó de esta entrevista fue eso, ¿no? Que nos dice, no se preocupen por eso, siéntanlo, ya, con
Sí,
eso.
y justo si ustedes buscan los videos de Amenra, sobre todo en vivo, Colin, hay algunos shows donde justo le cuelgan piedras y ahora entendemos qué simbolizan. Y tienen estos shows donde queman madera, hacen como una
Ujú.
especie de pirámide y la queman y tiene un sentido. Para mí eso es el punto máximo de Amenra, porque no es estas bandas como un Pink Floyd, un AC/DC que trae la ya sabes.
Sí.
Y está chido, te la pasas bien, ¿no? Dices, órale, qué espectáculo. Aquí es algo más personal, más profundo. Lloras con ellos, literal, estás sintiendo el dolor. Y abajo del escenario son demasiado buenas personas, creo yo. La verdad es que creo que eso es uno de los actos más impresionantes. Ya vinieron, ojalá vuelvan a venir. Dicen que esperan que sí.